is presented by Captain Morgan. Please drink responsibly.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Webb on this bathtub party day, Tony. Are you hosting one of these things tonight?
Tony Kornheiser can't. The coconut oil party clogged the drain.
I don't get that.
Really?
I don't understand that, no.
The coconut oil party. We had a coconut oil party.
What does coconut oil do?
Changes your life.
What is it used for?
Changes your life. I can't believe you got to this stage in life, relatively successful,
Midwestern
and you've never had a coconut oil party.
Sorry, never been to one. Never been invited.
Scary, kids. You know what it does. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Steph Curry goes down, Kevin Durant gets tossed, and Jim Harbaugh cannot stop. But we begin today with the NFL's swift reaction to last night's overly physical game between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Pittsburgh's Juju Smith-Schuster was suspended 1 game for his blindside block on Vontaze Burfict.
Got to go.
And Cincinnati's George Iloka was also suspended 1 game for his shot to Antonio Brown's head.
Got to go.
Wilbon, the larger question is, did the violence in this game go too far, or is this just football?
Tony, I had a couple of reactions to this game. While I'm watching it now in real time, and I watched every snap of it, I sort of recoiled. I felt guilty that I was seeing this violence, and I understand the game has moved in a different direction, away from it. But on the other hand, America fell in love with football just because of that kind of violence. I fell in love with football because of that. I don't play it, never played it, but I love football for the violence. Most people do. They'll lie now and say they don't, but they do. But real quickly, Troy Aikman tweeted this, and this encapsulates everything. This game is hard to watch for a number of reasons. Terrible for the NFL and the game of football overall. Troy Aikman played the game when it was still very violent, but some of the rules now are because of what drove Troy Aikman out of the game.
First of all, Cincinnati is a dirty team, okay? Pittsburgh and Cincinnati hate each other, and if you schedule a game like this on Monday Night Football late in the season, this is essentially what you're going to get between these two teams. To these larger questions, CTE has changed everything in our lives as we watch football. 2 and 3 and 4 generations of football players were raised on highlight tapes released by the NFL with these kinds of hits. And now you're saying you can't have them. What happens is the helmets no longer actually protect people. The helmets weaponize people. So they use their heads. If you launch yourself, and players are, I don't think the game has changed. I think players have changed. They're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. You launch yourself, and suddenly in the middle, someone else either drops his head or raises his head. What do you do?
Shazier, we have to talk about him.
What do you do?
What do you do? He's off the ground. I talked to my trainer about this morning, who played and coached football. And he talked about the angle, and he made me demonstrate with him the angle that Ryan Shazier was coming in. And if his head is, 2 degrees up, maybe he's not in that situation at a hospital last night where he couldn't move his legs on the field, and you're terrified.
That's not like these hits. That's a different thing.
Well, but they're still hits, Tony.
But what happened to him is not what they're trying to legislate against. What is bothersome to me is when players, and they invariably do this, they all do this, they say, yeah, that's not me. That's really not me. And you go, wait, you did that.
But
it's on tape. That is you.
The hit in the end zone on the game-winning catch.
On Antonio Brown.
We've seen that a million times. A guy standing, over another player who he has knocked out. We've seen it a million times. We don't accept it anymore, Tony. So the game is evolving.
You and I were taught to love that.
Yes.
And respect that and fear that.
Yes.
It's got to change.
Could Night Train Lane play today?
Change. Yeah,
could Jack Tatum play? Could Dick Butkus play? Could Ray Nitschke play?
They would all play, but they'd be suspended every once in a while.
They couldn't even be out there long.
I don't know.
I wonder what they think.
I don't know. Because I still love watching it.
It's hard last night, though. There was unpleasant drama in Monday Night Basketball, too, Tony. At the end of another second-half comeback win, this one in New Orleans, Steph Curry suffered a badly twisted ankle, an injury that could keep him out for, a couple of weeks maybe, including what would have been a homecoming game tomorrow night in Charlotte. Kevin Durant also got tossed, and for the 3rd time this year. Tone, the Dubs are 19-6, and Curry's X-rays were negative. Does all of this news amount to a big deal, little deal, or no deal at all?
I don't think it's a big deal because players get hurt all the time. I don't think it's no deal because what Steph Curry has to do, he has to stop short and go up and take a shot. If his ankles aren't working and it becomes a chronic problem, then
and he's had ankle history.
So I'm saying it's at least
a little deal.
Yes, it's at least a little deal at this point. Yeah.
So you think Durant is no deal, getting tossed like that?
Now I want you to talk for a while because I have two things to say, and I want to hear what you have to say.
So I agree with you on Curry. You don't want Curry. You don't want this becoming chronic like it was early in his career, because Curry's become something of an Iron Man. The only games he misses now are games
he walked off. He walked off.
And I hate that he can't play in Charlotte. Durant and Edgy. I just think some of this, when you're trying to defend a championship, and that's what they're trying to do this time around, defend successfully a championship, you get edgy. Guys get thrown out of games. You want to win. You're trying to muster up the energy to get through an 82-game season. I think it's difficult. I think it's no deal that Durant got thrown out.
There is a larger issue here. In fact, there are two larger issues. One is the alarming amount of times that the best team in basketball has had to come from long distance behind to win games.
Okay.
The second thing is the alarming amount of technical fouls that this team is getting. Draymond Green got another one last night. So in a quarter of the season, he has 7. That's
He's going to reach the magic number.
And Kevin Durant has now been thrown out of 3 games. And this forced their coach, Steve Kerr, who we both think is great. Steve Kerr said, we are a championship team. We can't have this. We have lost our composure. We are too emotional. And I think, Mike, and I understand what you're saying about trying to defend a championship, but you are living on the edge if you always have to come back.
I agree.
And if your players are always getting thrown out. And that allows for me to think that someone could beat them. I don't know who, someone could beat them.
I think that's a fair thought at this time of year, but I think back on other championship teams and the frustration they had and this sort of meandering through and navigating the defense of a championship in multiple sports, but particularly in basketball, Tony, where you have so many people sniping at you and coming at you.
Are you really defending a championship in December? Aren't you defending it more like in March?
Let me ask you something.
I don't know.
When Cleveland tried that to wake up in the middle of April and defend it, how did that go last year?
Well, they get to the finals all the time.
That's not the objective. It's to successfully defend the championship.
So I'm saying to you that these two things
give you
the
pause.
Combination of yes,
okay.
A little bit of pause.
That's fair.
Jim Harbaugh, who previously got into it with Pete Carroll and then with Urban Meyer, is now getting into it with Michigan State's coach Mark D'Antonio. D'Antonio was upset that Michigan at 8-4 got picked for a better bowl game than Michigan State at 9-3. And D'Antonio said, quote, "The records are what they are. I'll just continue to concentrate on beating Michigan and let things sort out," unquote. Harbaugh shot back at who he called Coach D on Twitter, saying, quote, "Congrats on turning around a 3-9 team plagued with off-field issues. Good for the Big Ten to have him back," unquote. Well, on Harbaugh's 1-2 versus D'Antonio. Is Harbaugh's act wearing thin if Michigan can't win big games?
Well, the key is if Michigan can't win big games, they haven't won that many. By the way, my school had a better record than Michigan.
Yes.
And we didn't get that bowl game either. And I dare Jim Harbaugh. Let me look in the camera and say, I dare you and your stupid khaki pants to talk about any off-field issues we've had. Because I know Michigan's had a hell of a lot. It's not about that. Michigan's had a hell of a lot more.
But he's talking about the other guy.
He's talking about he's taking a shot at a conference team for off-field issues.
That's right.
And I'm just saying, we had a better record than him. And he
it's not about you.
It's about the bowl game. It's about Harbaugh. This is about Michigan traveling. You're not familiar enough with the Big Ten to get in this argument. Michigan travels people, so the better bowl game took them. It has nothing to do with the presence of Harbaugh. He might think it does, but it doesn't.
Is a glamorous team. Michigan State is not. If Michigan State is not in the Rose Bowl, then it doesn't really matter where they are. Harbaugh adds to the the glamour in this. The problem for Harbaugh is, for example, this year, and I want to try to keep your school out of this for a second. He played 4 ranked teams. He played Penn State and lost. He played Ohio State and lost. He played Michigan State and lost.
He was 1-4, 1-3.
And he played Wisconsin.
Beat Florida.
That's not a Big Ten ranked team.
But they were ranked.
So if Jim Harbaugh, who I know you think should coach the Bears.
I do.
Right, and should get out of the Big Ten, and his record in the Big Ten is 28-10. But he's not winning the big games. And you know what the danger is? Then when he begins to talk, he begins to sound like LeVar Ball. And nobody takes him seriously.
Listen, Michigan is one of those schools that can be delusional. They, too, like Nebraska once upon a time and others, think it's their birthright to win 10 or 11.
That's right.
Well, he hasn't done that.
No.
So he either wins enough or they let him go. But one or the other, even though he's an illustrious alum.
The fact that you personalize this about Northwestern when he didn't talk about Northwestern.
It's about the conference. He took a shot at a conference team.
The in-state guy.
Tony.
He took the in-state guy.
The point is he went He went to you. We had a better record than you. That's where D'Antoni went. D'Antonio. I keep saying D'Antoni.
Yeah, I know.
D'Antonio, and he should have gone there. Stay out of our conference business.
On.
Get out.
Let's
Stay out.
just move on.
You don't have football.
No.
You play the little school sports.
No, Binghamton doesn't have football. That's why we're undefeated.
Are you undefeated?
Yeah, we are not. We are.
Wow.
We just passed up a bowl game this year.
Tony, let's go back to the NFL.
Passed
We
up that
cannot
Nashville game.
skip over this absurd assertion by Dolphins coach Adam Gase. He claims the onside kick he ordered with his team up 24 late in the game wasn't a personal swipe at the Broncos. Gase claimed yesterday it was just about rallying his team, which was coming off a 5-game losing streak. The Broncos certainly don't believe this garbage, Tony. Do you?
No, thanks for setting up an open and honest discussion here. No, I don't believe a single word he said.
No, of course not.
I don't believe anything he said about how this benefited his team. Look, he's up 24 points. There's 10 minutes left to go in the game.
You watching this on Red Zone?
Yes. He's up 24 points at this point against a team that in its last 4 games is averaging 14 points. They can't score.
No, they couldn't come back if they had 8
There is absolutely no chance. This is about John Elway. This is about the reports are that John Elway hosed him when he tried to get the San Francisco job and then gave him a courtesy interview at Denver but never wanted to pick him. And I'm going to go further here. There are things that brand someone. Let's go back to Greg Schiano at Tampa Bay when the other team was taking a knee and Schiano
he sent people crashing through the line.
That's right. And he looked like a college coach and not a pro coach.
What does Gase look like here?
He's never gotten a head coaching job in the NFL again.
Okay.
I think this can come back to bite Gase. This is...
It's petty.
Yes, it is.
It's unbelievably petty. He can't admit to it, which is why Gase already strikes me in two different things. He's gifted offensively in terms of just strategy and figuring out how to employ people and deploy people. I think that. And I also think he's a guy I don't believe anything he says, not one word of
I
what
wouldn't
he says.
believe this.
And this ain't the first time. But this is the time we're talking about now. Just admit it. Who was it? Was it Sam Weiss and Jerry Glanville? Remember when they got into it in the 80s when somebody onside kicked like 49-7?
Right.
And he said, I did it because I hate you and I want to crush your skull.
And do that.
Be a man.
And
do that. Own up to it.
Because you know what this was to me? This was to me what Michael Crabtree did when he didn't want to play, when it was about the chains. This was personal. This was revenge.
But
this had nothing to do with football. Nothing. Let's take a break.
Man up, baby.
Baker Mayfield may be the Heisman favorite.
Welcome back to Pardon the Interruption, presented by Captain Morgan, part of Happy Hour.
It is time for toss-up where 2 men enter, but only one had his beard dyed this afternoon. I dyed it
That's not
white.
natural?
Dyed it white so I could look like Wolf Blitzer.
Okay.
What's first?
Toss-up, which Heisman finalist will make the best pro? Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, or Bryce Love?
Well, the upside is higher for a quarterback in the end. It's up, but it also the downside is lower for a quarterback. So I'd probably go with the running back because a running back can walk right into the NFL and be good right away. The answer to the question for me is I don't really know. Mayfield is small.
This is risky for all three of them.
Jackson
He's
is
built
slight.
like a dancer.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Mayfield for 2 reasons. One, because I think he's a really good college quarterback, but mostly because you hate him. And I just want to antagonize you on this.
Yeah, here's a problem for all 3 of them. They're all slight. Love gets hurt all the time now, and he is spectacular to watch and a great college football player. They all 3 are. Jackson is the last time we saw a quarterback built like him who does that was RG3.
And it lasted less than a year.
And Baker Mayfield, to me, is your boy at Texas A&M a minute and a half ago.
So you don't like him?
So, no, I don't. Not for the pros. I don't necessarily like any of the 3 of them. But my sorry, stinky team, I might take any one of the 3 and be happy.
Next!
Toss-up, they play each other on Sunday. More impressive season, Carson Wentz or Jared Goff?
This is a really good question. Wentz has the better touchdown to interception ratio. It's 29-6. That's great. Goff is 20-6, which is really good. Goff has more total yards passing and a better completion percentage. I would obviously happily take either. For the purposes of this question, I'm going to say Goff because he was left at the side of the road for dead last year by the Rams. And when the Eagles people looked at Wentz last year, they said he's good and he's going to get better.
Well, for sake of the argument, I'll take Wentz. Just like you, I'll take either one of them.
Yeah.
Wentz, Tony, people don't realize it. We're talking about a guy who's like 6'5".
He's big.
240, and he can move.
Yep.
He has that Roethlisberger ability to get people off of him in the pocket and get passes off anyway. He also makes plays with his feet, and I don't mean just extending the play.
He's had 5 fumbles
I know
this
it's
year.
Early on, but Goff last year had picks. He didn't look so good. They're still both young. I'll take either one.
But this is the point.
But I'm just saying, Wentz is I like a big, strong guy.
If you have to reach into a room and you don't know, and whoever comes out, you're happy. You take. Next.
Toss up, who should Steve Spagnuolo start? Eli Manning or Davis Webb?
You better get this right. This is easy.
He should start Davis Webb.
What?
He should start Davis Webb because
drug tests
the
on aisle
entire
4.
reason for benching Eli Manning was let's see what we've got because we don't think Eli has that much left. You don't want to see Geno Smith. You want to see Davis Webb. If you don't start Davis Webb, then this is another occasion of the owner, John Mara, trying to make himself look to the fans because he should have said, do not bench Eli Manning at all. And this is him covering up. If he instructs the coach to start Eli Manning, I think that's a mistake.
What happened to what happened to the last coach who didn't start Eli Manning with the Giants?
McAdoomed?
Yeah.
He's gone. They
out.
took his key card.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this is easy. There are going to be 70,000 people plus wearing the number 10 jersey in Giant Stadium in the next home game, which I believe is in prime time. And they're all going to say, we want Eli. We want Eli. You want to embarrass your coach and hurt the starting young quarterback in his first start in Giant Stadium if this is not hard enough?
If you're asking me which is better for the Giants, it is to see Davis Webb.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. And I love Eli Manning. He's gone.
See him next week.
He's going to leave.
Then leave
next. It's about
last one. Toss up. Better rookie running back. Alvin Kamara or Leonard Fournette?
The easier answer, and I will not dispute it, is Kamara. He has 606 yards. He's averaging 7 yards a carry. He has 614 yards in catching passes, and he has 11 touchdowns. Yeah. He's a tornado. But my answer is Fournette for this reason. Because he doesn't have Drew Brees. He's got Blake Bortles. He's the entire offense for Jacksonville, which is somehow 8-4 at the moment. And this guy is this year's Ezekiel Elliott. Mike, he's got 822 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. It's the harder answer. It's the right answer.
Well, the harder way to go about this is without the Hall of Fame quarterback. And Fournette to have that. He got 8 guys in the box.
That's right.
And it was funny. He essentially said to some, goofs on Twitter, I got 8 in the box, shut up. Essentially that.
Well, he's right.
Of course he's right. But don't penalize Kamara. I understand he's playing with a Hall of Fame quarterback and another running back. So you're not even looking at him primarily. He's making the most of that, Tony.
He's playing with a Heisman winner.
Okay, but he's
great.
That team, one of the reasons they're able to do what they're able to do with New Orleans right now is him. It's Kamara.
So you think he's more valuable than Fournette, who is toting the rock?
I think
with 8 guys stacked against him?
He's the
That's it.
X-factor,
No. Let's take a break. Coming up. Oh, my, your boy Brian Urlacher says the Bears should not make a change at coach. You've been saying to change him out all year.
Okay. All right, we'll see where I am on that. Russia gets...
And Syracuse played all night through 6 overtimes. Also, aftermath of Steelers-Bengals. We'll see y'all on the 6.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Captain Morgan. Holiday like a captain. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Happy time, people. Happy 70th birthday, Jim Plunkett. After winning the Heisman at Stanford, Plunkett was the #1 overall pick for the Patriots in 1971. Although his career in New England wasn't much, Plunkett won a Super Bowl with the Oakland Raiders in 1981 and another with the Los Angeles Raiders in 1984. And the Raiders haven't won another since. If you're looking for a comparison to Plunkett, how about Eli Manning?
Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame. Great quarterback, great guy. He should be in. Eli Manning, the New York factor, he will get in with his 2. Plunkett's got 2. Let him in.
Happy anniversary, Klay Thompson. On this day last year, you exploded for 40 points in the first half. You finished with 60 in just 29 minutes of action in a blowout of the Pacers. You can talk about Curry and Westbrook and Harden all you want. None of them have scored in bunches like Thompson. In another game, he had 37 in a quarter.
Sounds like you're looking for another prolific and charismatic young scorer, Devin Booker. With the Suns had 70 in a game last year, 46 last night in Philly to beat the Sixers, Tony. Devin Booker, don't sleep.
Happy trails to the Winter Olympics for Russia after a 16-month investigation into their systematic cheating, at the most recent Sochi Olympics. The International Olympic Committee has banned Russia from the upcoming Winter Olympics in Korea. Russian athletes who wish to compete can do so under a neutral flag. Well, on the amount of cheating by the state-sponsored Russian team reminds me of East Germany in the 70s and 80s.
That's a lot. There was a lot of cheating going on then. Do you think those Russian athletes will actually compete and be favorably accepted in the Winter Olympics?
Some will compete, I do.
Okay.
2 errors, both of them will bonds.
What?
First, you said that Jim Harbaugh, quote, isn't winning 10 or 11 games.
Didn't win 11,
unquote.
never won 11.
In fact, he won 10 games his
11.
first 2 years at Michigan.
No 11.
And you called MetLife Stadium Giant Stadium.
What do you call it?
Giant Stadium.
Thank you
That's
very
what
much.
it is.
Giant
Big finish.
Stadium.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Ryan Urlacher tells Good Morning Football he likes the direction the Bears are heading. Hope they keep John Fox. You with him?
I can keep John Fox if you fire Ryan Pace, the GM. He's the number one culprit to me. J.J. Watt and Jose Altuve are Sports Illustrated's Sports Persons of the Year. They're good choices, aren't they?
Altuve is a miracle, and Watt raised so much money for the people of Houston. These are good choices. Florida State will hire Willie Taggart as its new head coach. Is that a good fit?
You know, he's a Florida guy. Comes over from Oregon. They went from 4-8 to 7-5 or something like that. Kelly Oubre, your boy, minus 42 last night. The Wizards lost by 40 to the Jazz. 47. Defend your team.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead. Come on.
No, and he's not my boy.
Yeah, he is.
Utah scored enough 2 minutes in the third quarter. They could have taken a kneel down. Last one, number 4 Villanova versus number 12 Gonzaga tonight. Who you got?
And the Jimmy V, Tony. You know Villanova knows how to play in the Garden. I'm going with the Wildcats.
We're out of time. You like to say Wildcats.
I'm always
We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the app.